So as has been the case from the get-go as it relates to this global social engineering and intelligence operation, aka the program, their persecution of me, Stephen Bell, has always served as the pretext which this conglomerate of states and intelligence agency have been using rather to run this program. And that is why I always, in quotes, supposedly feature in their never-ending propaganda campaigns, claims and accusations. And that is also why they are always sabotaging my life and well-being as much as humanly possible. And you have seen how they have been coming after me and my small business ferociously. And this is something that doesn't change, because they can't tolerate that I have any kind of success in life whatsoever. So when I started a small company and had success with that, they saw this as a threat, and therefore they have been coming after my small business increasingly as time has progressed. And now we have reached such a point that they are literally not only prohibiting all of my sales, 100% of my sales through my small business, they are also commanding of my previous customers who have bought things from me to create problems out of the wares that they have bought. And this has been the case from the last many sales, and these campaigns that are being run against me are completely controlled by the Danish intelligence agency, PET, who are using the program's communication system, more precisely this synthetic telepathy system, to conduct these campaigns against me. And yesterday, on the 6th of September 2021, there was one of these campaigns. And in this campaign, they used a previous customer of mine who bought an engine of me on the 12th of July 2021. I had already had previous contact with this person, who probably best could be described as a petty criminal type. In the beginning, he just had questions about installing an engine, and in this regard, he was making all kinds of mistakes, which turned into claims about my engine's supposed faults. And as soon as I suggested, and in fact was on the way to the customer's house, he suddenly got the engine running again. After this interaction, I didn't hear from him until yesterday on the 6th, where he suddenly wrote to me again, obviously not surprisingly, as the state arbiters of the program, in their propaganda campaigns and psyops against me and my small business one-stop engine shop, have been mentioning this person by name and the supposed faults with the engine, which obviously enticed and or coerced this person to air those grievances towards me on behest of the Danish intelligence agency, PET. So when this person wrote to me, he had quite a long list of supposed faults with my engine, all of which were very easily disproven just by me having photos of the actual engine from the sales date, in which it could be seen clearly how the intelligence agency's propagandized claims about my engine were completely fabricated. Not surprisingly, as the conversation on Messenger evolved, the claims also changed, which is so typical of the intelligence agencies who run this program. They have always been changing their narratives and claims against me, Stephen Bell, which is something that they have been doing from the get-go. Not only did this person, on behest of the Danish state and its intelligence agency, PET, make false claims about my engine on command, they also tried to use this as a pretext to extort me for money. And when I made it abundantly clear that this person wasn't going to get anything out of me for the false claims which he made, their objectives quite evidently turned into trying to arrange a meet-up, where this person wanted me, more or less, to invite him and probably many of his friends to my house, so we could talk supposedly about the dispute. Obviously, he had already been making threats towards me under the extortion part of the conversation. So there is no shadow of a doubt that the intelligence agency were trying to entice a physical confrontation to erupt out of this completely staged event. which is something I made abundantly clear in this conversation. I also made it clear to see that if this person was to seek me out uninvited, that I could only interpret this as he wanted to do me harm, and therefore I would have to defend myself with force. Because not only am I well aware of how the Danish intelligence agency PET were trying to have me set up in a physical confrontation, they are obviously also monitoring the entire correspondence and using or trying to use every word which I utter against me, endlessly hoping that I would write threats of my own, which is why they also use this lame to make all sorts of ridiculous provocations against me and my no good family, trying to provoke me endlessly to threaten him or to walk into the trap which had been laid for me yesterday on the 6th of September 2021 by the Danish intelligence agency PET, using this person as a de facto proxy. I would consider myself fairly capable, both physically and mentally. Therefore I know that if I get into a fight, someone will get hurt, and I will need to have the law so much on my side that there is no room for any kind of doubt or misinterpretation by the state. Because the court system, not to mention the entire Danish government, are very corrupt, and many of the population are out for my blood. The government here in Denmark, and especially PET, they will say and they will do anything to further their agenda. So lying, cheating and stealing and having me framed or set up for any number of things can happen at any point. It is more or less a foregone conclusion that I will be framed at some point in time in the immediate future, and I need to make that as hard as possible for them to do. It is for these reasons that they are so ferocious in their information warfare campaigns against me here in Denmark and all over the world in fact. They are literally using the Danish radio broadcasting services as a means of mass propagating to the entire Danish population propaganda and psyops, in which I am on a daily basis being endlessly ridiculed, demonized and labelled guilty for all sorts of serious and heinous criminal offences that I have never even been indicted for, nevertheless convicted for. In fact, I'm not even known in any of the 14 police districts here in Denmark for anything related to sex crimes whatsoever, and yet I'm being labelled guilty for all sorts of heinous sex crimes in the eyes of the public through these never-ending propaganda campaigns and psyops conducted by the state arbiters of the program, a.k.a. the Danish government and its police, intelligence agency, not to mention the state-run media broadcasting service, who are endlessly pumping out psyops in close coordination with PET, who quite often will use the program's synthetic telepathy system to run, aka interference with the broadcasting services on DR. So they are more on target with their psyops against me, Stephen Bell. All of these things are active measures and psychological warfare tactics, and there is no limit to what they are willing and capable of doing, and there is very little to nothing that I can actually do about any of it, which gives you a pretty clear picture of what I am personally faced with. And all of this is happening for the simple reason that I personally contradict the pretexts for this entire global social engineering and intelligence operation, aka the program, which is being run under the pretext of this endless social and political persecution of me. And that is literally why they are always coming after me.